All right, welcome everybody to Hangout number
Three.
3 on the Physiotutors app. I'm Andreas Heck.
It might even be 4, actually.
I think
and
it's
I'm
4.
and I'm Kai Siegel.
Yeah, so thanks a lot for everybody for joining us for this informal monthly hangout with Physiotutors and the community. Again, we are here for an hour of informal chit chat, information of what's happened, what is going to happen on the Physiotutors app and within Physiotutors. It's your chance to connect with us, to get a more behind the scenes look at our company activities. It's a great opportunity for you to share your thoughts about the app and also to share your wishes, for example, for what you would like to see in the app by using our chat function. Again, this event is also going live on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you're watching there, I've already posted it in the YouTube chat. The experience within the app is a lot better, and it's also the place where you can engage and where we are able to see your comments in our live chat.
Yeah, just to add, ask us anything. So that's basically the concept. If you don't, we will be talking about a lot of stuff that is maybe interesting, maybe not, but about the physio world in general and about each other. So, I'll keep an eye on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Because I can see there's questions coming in already.
Okay.
Let's start with that. Philip asks, it's actually a German question, but I've got my exam soon. Any tips that I should, about material that I should review? Philip, I guess that you're probably talking about the German physio exam.
Like the big one.
Yeah, like they have a big one at
licensing.
the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't do that. We did, our studies here in the Netherlands. So that's pretty hard to answer your question. I think we're not the perfect partners to ask. So I don't think we can give you great tips from our side here.
Now, I think overall, with these licensing exams, I'm going to compare it to our big final exam during the masters. Stick to the script, even if maybe you don't agree. But I think the goal of your entire apprenticeship or your studies is to prepare you for that final exam. So you learn a certain framework that you should adhere to in such exam scenarios and try to stick to that as good as possible. And then you should be fine. But yeah, like I said, we didn't do the licensing exam in Germany, so we can't really give you concrete advice there.
All right.
More questions? Or
no, not in the chat yet.
Okay.
So we'll keep going with the program. And like you are used to the Hangouts, in the weeks or in the months before, we always start with a little bit of a recap of what happened or what was released the last 4 weeks at Physiotutors. And I mean, the last Hangout was 3 weeks ago. So I'll give you a double review. So some things will be maybe double, but what happened in the last 3 weeks? So
first of all, I got my voice back, most importantly.
And you got a red eye, which people probably can't see on camera.
Yeah.
So I don't know if someone has joined or did join yesterday. We had a Q&A session with Henrik Riel from Denmark yesterday, who is the expert about plantar heel pain, formerly known as plantar fasciitis. It's also called plantar fasciopathy. It was a great session with quite some interaction from you guys as well, with a lot of questions. So we, did like an hour and 5 minutes or so, 6 minutes. And it was a great session. And like all of our events, they're always free. If you want to watch the event back, it's also free. It just costs you 1 credit, and if you've been using the app, you always get 5 credits per month if you're basic, like a free user. And of course, if you're a premium user, everything's unlimited. So feel free to watch that one back.
Yeah, there was maybe from my side good interaction also in that live event. And for this first event, what I did, if you scroll down on the event, you will see notes from the live chat, because Kai also added some nice links, and there was another, actually an African community member, who also beat Kai to it in posting relevant research articles, that in reference to what has been discussed. So all of the relevant chat items are also posted under there. So if you want to catch up on that, feel free.
Yeah, Philip says no worries. By the way, but Philip, good luck to you in your exam. I'm sure you'll ace it.
Definitely.
We have a question from Knugi who says, so just got the go ahead to use VR at my workplace. I think that's pretty awesome. Do you have any experience using it with patients, apps, games to measure ROM? No, I don't, but my cousin is actually doing his PhD specializing in VR technology, and he's always kind of pushing us to do some projects with him on VR. I think it looks pretty promising, especially for chronic patients who are fearful to move. I know that there's some papers about it. I don't know. Like every time we talk about it with Danny, my cousin, like we feel like I don't know if the physio world is ready yet for VR. I mean, it's been used in a lot of fields, but I feel like our profession is always a bit behind when it comes to new technology.
Yeah, and I think right now it's probably also being overshadowed by the rise of AI, and all of the opportunities that AI offers for our profession. But we get comments regularly, like I said, but no personal experience also from my side.
Yeah, I'd say let us know what your experience is. I think it's pretty awesome that your workplace offers VR technology. So I'm sure you're working at a place that is pretty
Ahead of the curve. Yeah.
ahead of time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking or just continuing. What else did we do last week? We had, I think, our third journal club with Alexis Leveillé, also known as the No Bullshit Physio, who runs our journal club in a nice and entertaining way because we know journal clubs can be pretty dry for some people. And we discussed a pretty famous RCT, which is called the Restore trial, which compared cognitive functional therapy, so CFT, by the O'Sullivan Group. I hope a lot of people of you know it. To usual care for chronic back pain. So really well done study and paper, and that was reviewed by Alexis last Thursday. What else happened? We released a podcast beginning of the month, like you know from us, about the pain and disabilities drivers model with Yannick Toussignon-Laflamme. Very interesting framework to apply the biopsychosocial approach in practice. Kind of a little forecast. We also recorded a masterclass with him last week, so that's about to come. And also mentioned that in the beginning of January, we published a blog on temporomandibular pain. So that's intended to give you a great overview about what it is, how do you manage temporomandibular pain, how do you diagnose it, and that's based on a podcast that we recorded with Corine Visser, who is like a specialized physio, which we have in the Netherlands for orofacial therapy. And
that podcast's coming in February, so the first on Saturday actually, and it was the first in-person podcast that Kai recorded over here. So for those that for those of you who prefer watching video, it's also a more pleasant real-life conversation to watch rather than the remote podcasts that we usually record.
Yeah, to add on to that, if you don't like watching or listening to long format like a podcast, I never did. Now I do love podcasts because I have a bit of a car ride. but we also do podcast summaries of around 5 to 8 minutes, where I try to really give a great summary of what we talked about. So, and then you maybe can start with that. If you like the summary and you're interested, then you can still maybe tune into the full podcast episode.
And for those who are really short on time, we supply infographics for every episode. So then you get the essence of each episode in a visually appealing infographic that you can even use for your clinic.
Okay, we got a couple of questions. Knugi says, yeah, also started with Parkinson with the VR technology. Looks really promising. I'll have to dig deeper.
Yeah, I can imagine that queuing with VR
for sure.
Can be really, really effective.
Yeah. And then Christomir Banev says, do you have experience with dry needling? And what is your opinion for using them as part of treatment? Oh, yeah. Sorry for that if you didn't understand me properly. Not as a therapist, but funnily enough, our podcast episode that comes out in March, beginning of March, was with Barbara Cani about dry needling. So she's a researcher and someone who teaches dry needling. I think it's an awesome episode where she explains, the physiology behind it, but also the evidence. So for me, it was also really interesting. I think we are more on a critical side when it comes to hands-on treatment. But from my own experience as a tennis player who wanted to get back quickly or as quickly as possible on the court, I had like one case where I could really tell that my quadratus lumborum was really overloaded and tight and painful, because you always, with the serve, you do like a kind of a side bending motion. And I couldn't do anything about it. No stretching, no exercising. It just didn't go away. And I do have to say that a friend of ours who is educated in dry needling, shout out to Max Dienemann at this point, who is working in a practice in Amsterdam. He kind of fixed me. So he really relieved, or the dry needling really relieved the pain instantly. And it kind of got me curious. And I'm actually doing a course in April. So I can tell you more about that then. I think the only problem is that it's sometimes misused. So the courses are expensive. People do the course and then they dry needle the shit out of every patient. I think that's definitely not what should happen. It should be an adjunct, such as manipulations, mobilizations, and other stuff that we use with our hands. Can I go on? Because we have more questions.
I love the engagement. I'd rather see it here in the chat, but if it's over on YouTube.
Okay, this is like this is going to end up in advertisement. But there's a remark from Jürgen who says, "I'm thinking to create templates, foils with all the orthopedic extra tests. I'll put in the rooms for me and my colleagues, because sometimes it's hard to remember them all. Does your application could be an alternative for my clinic?" Yeah, like even ourselves, we don't remember all the tests that are out there, because a lot of them are also weak. So you don't have to remember all of them. We don't, even though we have a database. We also made a video about our standpoint on special testing. So we do use it, but definitely not as much as people think. But instead of hanging up reminders or stuff in your practice, I think the really very, very best tool that we can offer is the premium, is one of the premium features of the app, where you can find all of the tests on the app. And this is also what we do, basically. If I don't remember a test, or I'm seeing a complaint that I usually don't see, for example, I saw a patient with wrist pain. I really hardly see them. So it was actually today. Then I would open the app myself to review special tests when I need them. And I'd say check it out for yourself. Also tell your colleagues about it, because you can use the premium, or you can test the premium features of the app for 7 days for free. So there will not be any charge if you cancel before. If you try it and you don't like it, or it's not what you're looking for, just cancel it before the 7 days, and you will not be charged. and afterwards, I think I'm probably guessing you're from Germany. It's 10 euros a month, and it gives you lots of more value besides the assessment app content. So yeah, feel free to check it out. I'm pretty sure that this could be a great application in your case.
Yeah, nothing to add there. Great advertisement, Kai.
Yeah, that was really like almost like we constructed it.
Yeah.
All right. No more questions in the chat so far, but quite a big audience, so that's nice. What else did we publish last month? We published a masterclass with Henrik Riel. So this month is really the plantar heel pain month, about plantar heel pain. So if you're curious about plantar heel pain, watch the masterclass, check out the Q&A.
Or read next week's blog.
Yes, that's the next one that's going to come out. We've also published 3 new research reviews. One is called Running Adaptations for Patellofemoral Pain. So what could you adapt when patients have PFPS? The other one was about choosing the right meniscus treatment to avoid knee OA progression. So that was about should you have surgery, yes or no? And if you decide to have surgery, should you do it directly or wait and do therapy first? And the third research review that Ellen published was the lumbopelvic movement control in powerlifters and the association with low back pain. So they used the Luomayoki battery, which we also published, I think, quite a couple of years ago, which is a movement battery to assess lumbopelvic movements when people are in pain or when they have low back pain. And they checked that out for powerlifters. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue because I'm talking a lot?
Quite the old video, yeah. Yeah, so that was a bit of the content rundown of this month that's coming to an end. But there's, of course, upcoming content. I already hinted at it that next week we're going to publish, or first of all, Saturday, we're going to launch the podcast about TMD with Corine Visser. Then the week, I think first Wednesday in February, we're going to launch the new blog post on plantar heel pain, sort of as a wrap up of the lecture and Q&A. Then 14th of February, we're going to have, or let me rephrase that, the lecture that's coming up is with Julia Treleaven on cervicogenic dizziness.
Yeah.
So we did a podcast already with her, and there's a lecture coming up this February. Usually we try to time a Q&A based on the month's lecture, but February and March are switched. So we're going to have the Q&A with Julia in March, and in February, the next Q&A that's coming up is with Lars Ave-Marie, who's already done a webinar with us during COVID, and he is going to discuss how to detoxify the clinical reasoning process. A very catchy title. Also an interesting lecture for March, but the Q&A is already... no, I still have to add it because tomorrow you'll be able to already ask your questions about clinical reasoning or difficulties you have with clinical reasoning. And that's coming up on the 14th. Podcast, blogs. Yeah, that's it in terms of events and upcoming content. Maybe as a side note, events, tomorrow, Kai and I will do our live presentation at our old university here in Amsterdam. So the Students Association, they invited us for a talk. It's actually surprising that in all of these years, we graduated in 2016, and we've been to Eindhoven more than we've been to our old uni. But last but not least, we'll be back at the HVA in Amsterdam to give a talk and to have a chat and some drinks afterwards with the students.
Yeah. So if you're a student watching at the moment, looking forward to meet you. It's always great to get in touch. There's more questions in the YouTube chat.
All right.
And the question is from Flonic, who says, "Hey, do you think guidelines can make our life as physios easier, or would you recommend treating every patient individually? Don't get me wrong, of course, you treat every patient individually, but I think there are also dangers in using guidelines for everything. I was just wondering what your opinions are." Yeah, I mean, guidelines are useful for sure. They give you a real, broad overview about what is derived from reviews, usually, and meta-analysis about how you should diagnose a certain pathology and how you should treat it. Very, very general. So there's absolutely no individuality in it. And I feel like as a student, when I had to read guidelines, I was like, yeah, but I still don't know how to treat this person in front of me. So I think it's good to have an overview and to know what generally works in a big group of patients. But then, yeah, I mean, it's the same like reading systematic reviews or meta-analysis. You generally have an idea. And then, I mean, yeah, like in research is done in groups. And then you have this person right in front of you. And you more or less know what approaches from the literature could be or have shown to be effective. And then you look at the person in front of you, like what are their dysfunctions, what are their weak spots, what are their preferences, what is your own experience and expertise, and then you come up with an individualized treatment recommendation. And I think if you watch the video EBP as a funnel versus EBP as a stool, where we have evidence, patient preferences, and clinical experiences, that's how it's presented as a stool. I think the recommendation to use it as a funnel where you use the evidence. Evidence is not only guidelines, but it can be all of the studies. It can be anatomy knowledge, physiology knowledge. If you use that, then your treatment approach should make sense and should be evidence-based. Then you use your clinical experience of what can you do, what are you skilled in, what do you see in practice is working with the patient group you see or not. And then at the end of the funnel is patient preference. So ideally, after your assessment process and after your patient history taking, you should be able to present the approach that you believe will help this patient, and the patient can then decide, like, is this also the way that they see is the way forward? So you do a shared decision making. So all in all, clinical guidelines are a good orientation, but they're absolutely not personalized. And I also don't think you can stick to them because they don't say anything how you should be treating a person or the person. Like, they don't say anything at all. Anything to add?
They give general guidance, but applying this generality to the individual in front of us, that's the challenge. And I think sticking to them 100% is never going to be possible. Having said that, I'm going to slide in another short advertisement because the question is coming from YouTube. If you want to have some assistance in handling clinical practice guidelines, because there are a ton, and there's a lot of different professional bodies that come up with guidelines. So, for example, the Dutch Physio Association, they have their own guidelines for certain pathologies. Then there are NICE guidelines, for example, out of the UK. There's American guidelines on neck pain, or you name it. And that's why also, as part of your premium membership, you get access to our clinical assistant AI, Chat CPG, which stands for Clinical Practice Guidelines. So we've trained an AI bot based on a data set of clinical practice guidelines and also a lot of our website content, because we have a huge wiki of tests and pathologies on our website. So this AI bot is trained on a custom data set and is supposed to also only give you answers out of this evidence-based data set. We're refining this continuously, so it's still in the beta, but this can give you a hand in navigating clinical practice guidelines and getting general advice on how to treat. So, yeah, play around with it. I think it's a really cool feature within the app, and really excited to continue improving it down the line.
Okay, a couple of more questions coming in. I'll try to be a bit briefer. Gresik asks, "Hi, is there any correlation in popliteal pain during sciatica/deep gluteal syndrome?" Sciatica should be pain down the leg, but there is also the bowstring test that you recorded actually.
Yeah.
And in this test, you do kind of a version of the straight leg raise test with a bent knee, where you do palpate the tibial nerve in the popliteal region, and an aggravation of the symptoms indicate a positive test. It's quite a while ago, so I don't know the correlation, but I mean, you are kind of poking and irritating the sciatic nerve that is already sensitized. So I can see how that makes sense. In deep gluteal syndrome, we made quite a lot of videos about that. I'm thinking what I can answer in this case. Yeah, I think in this case, there's a lot of discussion about it. If it exists, first of all, it's formally called piriformis syndrome, where we made probably the most popular YouTube video about piriformis syndrome. Is it a thing or not? So that's maybe interesting to watch. So then you might maybe not be thinking about piriformis syndrome or deep gluteal syndrome so much. I think I've never seen a true one. Probably it's always a herniated disc pressing on a sciatic or on a nerve root. So that would be my relatively quick answer to that. What else? Bo Dirven asks, "Do you guys come to Saxion and Enschede somewhere in the future?" I think we went there 4 years ago, quite a while ago. Since then, we haven't received an invitation. If you're studying there, I mean, just try to get the thing going. We love to come to universities. I think it's usually with the in the Dutch with the student association. So they kind of manage it. Same story with all the other places that we go to.
Probably going to be an overnight trip.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah.
And Haris just retracted his question. But Christomir Banev says, "What is your opinion about McKenzie method for lumbar herniated disc?" I think the evidence is not there, but I do think in practice it's like the lumbar extension exercise is a great exercise that can work for a lot of people. But it's like with a lot of other things, try it. If it makes people better and they get relief and centralization, great. If it doesn't, just move on. Basically, same story like isometrics for tendinopathy. Seems to work well in some conditions. In others, it doesn't seem to work well, and it's always patient dependent. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on and maybe quickly discuss what's happening at Physiotutors. So, as you know, our online courses are accredited continuing education courses in the Netherlands, Belgium, the US, or a good majority of the states in the US, Germany, Austria, UK, and Australia. And for the Netherlands, you need to renew accreditation every 2 to 3 years for a course. So for pretty much all of our courses, we are in the process of reaccrediting our courses. Also because in the Netherlands, or towards the end of this year, a accreditation period for all physios working in the Netherlands is coming to an end. But yeah, we are currently reaccrediting all courses. That being said, in the same vein, prices of our courses will go up in a couple months. We've held off of raising our prices on any of our products basically since they've launched, but also we as a company, we can't escape rising costs left and right, which also means that what's coming in has to be raised a little bit. So yeah, if you're looking, or if you're on the fence of booking a course, we'd suggest you do it rather sooner than later. If you want to save some money, the price rise, or the price raise, will not be drastic, but still, if you want to save a couple euros, then rather do it now than later. Also, you have unlimited access, so it doesn't really matter when you book the course. The webinars, because we get quite some questions about the webinars on study.physiotutors.com. They have all their accreditation has expired for all of them. We are not going to reaccredit those until we are accredited as an institution, because otherwise it's a administrative nightmare. But the one-time purchase of those webinars, which is 35 euros each, you can save yourself that money and watch all of the webinars within the Physiotutors app. You don't even need a premium membership. You can use your 5 monthly credits to watch lectures on the app, which includes all of the webinars on the website as well.
Yeah, around 50 lectures or so.
Yeah, it's around 50 lectures.
Yeah. Yeah, what else is happening? We already said we're going to give a talk tomorrow at the Hogeschool van Amsterdam, HVA, or the European School of Physiotherapy. We will also give another talk in Hasselt, where we were like 2 years ago, I think, for the master students there in Belgium, who will be paying us in beer, food, and accommodation like last time. I'll try to not drink too many tasty Belgian beers before the lecture. But that's on 14th of March. So if you're located in Belgium, yeah, just come. I think it's not only exclusively for the students there. Anyone can come. Yeah, we recorded a lecture with Yannick Toussignon-Laflamme about the PDDM, so PDD model, where we already posted a podcast and a blog. What else? Yeah, we mentioned last time our website is going to get a good overhaul. There's going to be a new menu. It's going to be more pretty. So we're going to lift the design. I think the website is now 4 years old, 3.5 years old. So lots of new pages coming. The menu is going to be better, prettier, and
just overall realign it with the new design direction that we've headed into with the app development. Yeah, there's going to be a new podcast recording with running physio Tom Goom
about MTSS,
about
medial tibial stress syndrome.
And also there, I think Tom, he asked us if we could construct the episode around questions from the community. So keep an eye on our Instagram story for a question tag in the coming weeks, where you can submit your questions about medial tibial stress syndrome that you would like to have discussed by a running expert, Tom Goom, on our podcast. So keep an eye out there over on Instagram, on the Instagram stories. Maybe I'll also just make a community post on YouTube, and we'll gather some nice questions to be discussed.
Okay, things that we always have a little section, things that in the physio world that caught our attention.
I have another one to share because our community already, shout out to our community. You might have seen on Instagram, and actually we were kind of overwhelmed by the response, where we called out our community if there were volunteer proofreaders that want to join us on a new and exciting project around, first of all, our podcast. Because we will be launching, it's still a bit down the line, but we will be launching our podcast in natively in total of eight languages, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
A total of 8 languages. With the help of generative AI, you will be able to listen to Kai and our guests in French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, Turkish.
Arabic?
No, no. So far, those languages. Yeah. And yeah, I maybe want to give you a little sneak preview about maybe you want to listen into. Let's see what Kai sounds like as you gotta let me know if you can hear it. But this is Kai and Andrew Jaggi discussing shoulder instability in French.
Okay, I think.
All right, I think that's enough. But I think you get the idea that in a couple of months, yeah, probably within the next half year, you will be able to listen to all of our episodes in all of those languages. And I'm super excited about this project. I play around with the technology pretty much every day, and I'm super excited to make the podcast even more accessible around the world.
Okay, moving on to the next section. Things in the physio world that caught our attention, and then we're talking about different things, usually a research article that I will just get to. I don't know if anyone has followed the Australian Open that just finished with Yannick Sinner from Italy taking the title. And he defeated Daniil Medvedev in the final. And I think a funny thing and a cool thing about it is, I don't know if you're into tennis, I am, but Daniil Medvedev actually broke the record for the most hours anyone has ever spent I think in the Australian Open. I don't think it's in Grand Slams in general, but in the Australian Open. So the record for the most amount of hours played in a Grand Slam or in the Australian Open as a Grand Slam tournament. And the funny thing is, or why I mention it is, we have an online course with Jan Lemeur,
Shout out, Jan.
who is his performance coordinator or performance specialist, who coordinates all his training, his nutrition, his recovery. And the course is also called Recovery for Sports Performance. And yeah, he is the guy behind that, behind Daniil's success in this case, which was amazing because the guy was forced to play a lot of 5-set matches, and yeah, he made it into the final. So I think Jan is actually doing a great job, or must be doing a great job, if Daniil Medvedev can recover so well. Moving on to the research that caught my eye. If you can, you're showing the course.
That's just the course. Yeah, let me just share the screen for that.
Yeah, there's a scoping review by Bruin or De Bruin, so probably Dutch or South African or Belgian researchers. It's been posted on social media as well, so that's where I've seen it as well. And what they did was they looked at 23 studies, or they included 23 studies, all of which looked for an association between load on the spine and the onset, but also the persistence of low back pain. And as you might know, there's so much discussion going on and so much thoughts from the past that lifting with the wrong technique and so on, or heavy work, will lead to back pain. And this scoping review basically refutes any association between load and the incidence of low back pain. And it also does not show or shows that there is no support that more load leads to an increase or leads to an increase in risk for the onset of low back pain. Two more things that caught my eye in the study was that 2 out of 3 studies, so 2/3 of the studies, did not support load preceding low back pain. So that load wasn't a causative factor, or like how many people think I lift something heavy and then that's how I got back pain. And the last one was that 9 out of 10 studies did not support that a decrease in load leads to a reduction in low back pain. So it might not be a good strategy to really deload the patient or deload them completely. So rest might not, or probably does not, lead to a reduction in low back pain. So very interesting study. I think check it out. I haven't actually checked if it's free.
No, it's not open access, unfortunately.
Now, in any case, really good evidence to hopefully put an end to the discussion if load is a risk factor for low back pain. And I hope evidence from this study changes false beliefs that we might have as physiotherapists. Okay, I'm checking the chat if there are more questions here. No, not on YouTube.
I'll just post the article. There you guys go. If you want to read the at least the PubMed abstract, just posted it on the chat.
Okay. Last but not least, because we also usually talk about app updates and new features, but the guys are working on it. So we mentioned it last time, so we don't want to bore you again with it. But maybe one thing, the app will improve dramatically in the course of months. So if you like it now, you'll love it in the future. We have many ideas, and it's great to see that come to fruition. Okay, the last section is questions we have for each other, and I asked the chat CPT.
Okay.
What are 10 good questions I could ask Andreas about Physiotutors? And I have 10 great questions, but maybe the answers take too much time, so
I'll be brief.
I'll take the best ones.
Okay.
So question number 1 is behind the scenes insights. Can you share a behind the scenes moment that most people don't know about your business?
And that we eat sandwiches on Wednesdays. Behind the scenes that most people don't know.
I mean, I don't want to put for me, for sure, that we filmed in our living room for ages, and that we lived with 2 other people. So we had to actually stop filming when people would go to take a toilet, or when they would go to the toilet, because you would hear it flushing on the camera. And also when they came down the stairs, we had to kind of pause so they could get their coffee. And
I have one, because I edit the videos, and if I listen with headphones when I edit, or even now when you rewatch the videos from that time, you can hear the buzzing noise of the fridge from the kitchen. You can hear because the mic picked up the buzzing noise from the fridge in the kitchen. So that's maybe a nice behind the scenes fact.
Yeah. By the way, if you have any personal questions, feel free to post them in the chat as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, inspirations and influences. What individuals or businesses have inspired you in our industry, and how have they influenced our approach?
I mean, there was a time like 2016, 2015, 2016, 17, where I think a lot of people, controversial opinion now, Gary Vee was pretty influential, definitely for Instagram strategy, but overall also approach to business and growing an audience in social media. I'm not watching him anymore. I think we outgrew his ideas, but yeah, that was influential. Steve Jobs, in a way, Apple. I think that lots of attention to detail. And really going in on, okay, how do you experience a product. That was, I think that's an inspirational person. Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep it to the easy ones, and then if we have time, I'll
Okay.
give you the more difficult ones. Favorite project or product? Out of all the projects or products we've worked on, which one is your personal favorite and why?
I mean, the easy answer would be the app that we're currently working on. But I would say the assessment ebook will remain my favorite, because it was just like, it was the first time we sold anything online, and the way of setting up an online storefront in 2015 of, okay, how can we sell this. It was also bare bones. The first edition Kai made in Microsoft Word. And but like figuring out a way, how can we sell a copyright or a DRM protected file. It was just like this bootstrapped product. So I think I'm the most proud of that, because that also was the proof of concept that Physiotutors can have a viable future. And then the first online course with all of the interactive things. But
It's also pretty awesome.
yeah, but now the app, it's like the first product. There's tens of people working on it, and I think the app now is, for me, most exciting, because it's a pretty much limitless playground. So all of the inspiration that we have in our weekly brainstorm sessions, like, it's just a matter of time, money, if we can make something happen. So and that's very, very, very nice. Yeah. So in that order.
Challenges and learning. What's the biggest challenge we faced as a business, and what did you learn from overcoming it? It's not easy. So many challenges.
Oh yeah. I think challenges.
Accreditation.
Oh yeah. But that's more like bureaucracy, dealing with
legal fights.
Legal fights. Oh man, we don't have an NDA, but that's too long. Yeah, bureaucracy. I mean, when other institutions change rules out of a sudden, that really, significantly impact your business, and then you really have to adapt, even though you might think that it's completely stupid. But I think those are challenges. I think for us as a social media company, one big challenge was changing of algorithms. And where from one day to the other, overnight, a company decides that no, you're not allowed pretty much to tap into your organically grown audience anymore.
Shout out to Facebook.
Yeah, we're just not gonna give your posts or dish your posts out to them anymore, and it's just declined from there. I think that's the challenge. And another challenge.
What have you learned from it?
What have I learned from it? You gotta adapt. You can't stand still. You can't rely on third parties to keep the boat afloat, because everyone's always going to be looking out for their own interests first, until they serve others. And always, don't stop to innovate. And that's I think the lesson we've learned over the 11 years that we've been working on Physiotutors. Yeah.
Okay, ties together well with the next question, which is advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring entrepreneurs, what would it be based on your experience?
I mean, based on Physiotutors, I think is a very unique experience. If you just take the stats that I think it's over 80% of starting businesses shut down after 5 years. So, like the majority of ideas, of business ventures will fail. We've done uh, two side hustles, two side projects next to Physiotutors in the past 5 years that after having spent a years working on them part time, with more than just the two of us, have not gone to fruition and that we had to shut down. Which should not discourage you to, if you have an idea. I think one would be, if you have an idea, find another person or maybe two other people who share the same idea or have a shared interest in pursuing that idea. Because I think venturing out on your own is incredibly difficult. Um, so that's one piece of advice. And the other one would be, okay, have patience and work hard, because the success is not going to come overnight. And yeah, work hard for 3-4 years until maybe you see the first real success.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you already have a career, I think we were at a good point in our lives and life circumstances. We didn't have a family, we didn't have, we were studying, we were living together, so a lot of time could be spent on the idea. But if you already have a career, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and quit and say, okay, I'm going to go all in. Start with 1 day a week or start in the weekend to work on the idea. And once you see you get some traction, then you can increase the time investment and maybe allocate more towards that new entrepreneurial idea.
I'm not sure about your last answer. Like, I'm someone who quit his career because I thought I could build something up on a side, which I just couldn't. I didn't have the energy anymore. Yeah, I get your point, but I think I would sometimes say, if you really believe in something and you are passionate about it, I would say go all in, but be prepared to crash as well.
Yeah, so that it really depends on how much luggage you have.
Yeah, I mean,
like if you're traveling with a backpack,
yeah,
then
yeah,
go for it. But
yeah. If you have 2 children to support and a wife, it's maybe a different story.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Next question. Also, it fits so perfectly. Team dynamics. What do you think is the secret to our team success and strong collaboration? Make me shine.
No, I think, and I've said that quite often, and I definitely attribute a lot of, or I attribute a lot of the success, or the fact that we were successful with this idea and were successful in keeping this up for 11 years, is that we are, character wise and skill wise, on not polar opposites, but there's not a ton of overlap in the skills that we have, which allowed us, working as the two of us early on, to cover a really broad spectrum of necessary skills in this business, where I would heavily focus on the tech aspect, and creative aspect of Physiotutors, and Kai is really good in crunching the numbers, doing a lot of financial admin, which you definitely need, and also content wise. I think Kai is really strong in handling reading research, which is where we started, and I was, I also did that, but my definite strength was in bringing that to life in the form of video, in the form of posts, and starting to build our website and all of the stuff. Even to today, me, like, then I would be here setting up the live stream set, and Kai would prepare, something like the itinerary for today's
Man,
live stream.
I still don't know how our camera really works.
Kai knows where to press record.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that really, and then also character wise, we differ quite a bit, which is good because it leads to maybe opposing viewpoints, which leads to better thinking about decisions or plans that we have, which is definitely helpful in negotiations or collaborations that we have. And yeah, definitely just in the team dynamic. We also have a bit of a age difference. So like when we met, I was 18, you were 26, 25.
Yeah, 26.
26, I think. Yeah. I was 18 turning 19,
7
you were
years older,
26 turning 27. So that also, I think, led to a good dynamic. Yeah. So
X-Ray Man says, hello there. Hi. If you have any questions, we already almost through the hangout, so now it's up to personal questions, and I have like 2 or 3 questions left for Andreas. So
yeah, let's do them.
Here's your chance if you have any questions that you always wanted to ask him. But next question, and I think that's kind of what we mentioned already. Future plans and innovations. What exciting plans or innovations can our audience look forward to from us in the coming months or years?
Oh, there's a lot. Like, I think there's 18. First of all, we are going 100% in on the app. So whether that's the mobile app or app.physiotutors.com, the online,
the desktop
version of our membership or app, this is where we are allocating all of our efforts towards. I think we're going to centralize Physiotutors around the app and around the web app. But like I already said, I'm big into AI technology, generative AI, anything that's going on in that space. And I'm constantly daily looking, okay, how can we implement AI tools efficiently and effectively into Physiotutors? So, for example, being able to listen to our podcast in different languages with Kai's voice and the voice of our guests. Lots of text-to-speech items, content additions. We're going to develop new add-ons, or we're going to rebrand that to tools. So next to the assessment manual therapy add-on, our clinical assistant, there's going to be more tools that should hopefully make your life as a physiotherapist easier, from tools to use in practice as study tools or as administrative tools. Not going to share too much on that. That's going to come. Adding new languages, for example, Physiotutors is going global, so trying to translate the app and all of its content into more languages. What else? Yeah, just making the app overall better. We want to build up a community section on the app. Going to give that away also. So next to these events where you can interact on the chat, we really want to give you guys the opportunity to talk to each other and discuss study topics, discuss clinical cases, discuss anything that you want to ask in a dedicated space, away from the noise of Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. So that's really exciting. And also, I like our presence as a company internationally. We want to work on that as well, so that Physiotutors is better represented in France or Indonesia or Australia or the US. Basically, any relevant country Physiotutors is represented there more
Okay.
prominently. Yeah.
Quick clinical question that I'll answer on YouTube from Faheen Nas. Hello, says tinnitus related to cervical spine straightening. There's a relation between cervical dysfunction and tinnitus. I'd say if you really want an answer, tune into the podcast episode with Sarah Michiels from Belgium, who talked to me about tinnitus. And we also covered this topic, the relation to temporomandibular dysfunction and tinnitus, and also cervical spine dysfunctions and tinnitus. And you will learn a lot there. Also, masterclass coming up with her.
Yeah.
So check out the app, get into the app. It's for free, and you will find a lot of answers there. Okay, almost done. Community engagement. How do you see our business contributing to and engaging with the local community or industry?
How do you see our business contributing to and engaging with the local community or industry? I mean, I think we're contributing to the physio community on a global scale. There's millions of people tuning into our contents every single month. So by making evidence-based and high-quality content available essentially for free, globally, we are actively engaging and contributing to the community. How it's locally, I mean, in the Netherlands, we're paying taxes, so we're contributing there. So yeah, I think that's the biggest contribution that we're making. Yeah.
Okay, one more question in the chat from YouTube. One we had before. Kai, could you share your workout routine? I love that you ask me. If you would want to know my routine now, it's not a great routine because it's like a 2-day work. I work out twice a week, all full body exercises, so the big ones. If you ask about my routine back then, was the same with like Andreas's routine. 6 times a week. Split was push, pull, lower body twice, I think.
Yeah, it's what, yeah, upper, lower, legs,
Push, pull.
or lower, upper, legs, push, pull, and then legs.
Yeah. So, and again, the same advice that we gave like in the first Hangout. If you really want to read an absolutely great book that answers all of your question about fitness, check out Eric Helms' work on his nutrition pyramid and also on his exercise or workout pyramid.
The strength.
He's a researcher. He's a bodybuilder himself. And I think his PDFs are like, I don't know, $50, not even. It's the best, absolute best source or best ebook that I've ever read on nutrition and on exercising. And I think all of our workouts, in the end, just were derived from his advice.
Yeah.
So he also has sample workout routines in there as well. So that's really what I can advise everyone. Just we're not affiliated. It's just absolutely great stuff. And the guy's a scientist as well. PPL, rest PPL. What is that? PPL?
No idea.
I did have one rest day.
Sunday.
And rest in between sets was in time-wise, like the heavier set, the longer the rest period. So like after a heavy squat set, I would do 4 minutes of a break. So quite a lot of time. Same with deadlift. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. But like I said, check out the exercise pyramid by Eric Helms. Like all of the questions answered there. Absolutely great stuff. All right, Andreas, 1 or 2 more questions left, and then we'll finish off. Yeah, push-pull legs, PPL. I don't know what PPL is. Oh, push-pull legs. PPL is push-pull legs. Yeah, ours was push-pull legs, upper, lower.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a mix, but yeah. Okay, thanks, Jerome. Appreciate it. Okay, 2 more questions, Andreas. Okay, now there's one more clinical question. Any advice for physiotherapy students ahead of first practice placements. Oh yeah, that's a good one. I think we were massively stressed out as well because you basically don't know anything. I would say don't focus too much maybe on what you've learned and what you need to know. I would say uh, ask a lot of questions to your clinical instructor or the person instructing you or helping you or the person that is responsible for you. Be critical as well. So if they're good, they're happy to ask or to explain why they're doing certain things. Also, um, be brave and bold and try yourself. So if they ask you like, do you want to try this and that, go ahead. You probably won't kill the patient. So yeah, be active and take an active role instead of sitting in a corner and watching everything. Um, and also prepare. Like in a lot of times, you know what kind of agenda you'll have the next day, and you know what kind of complaints the patients have. Then you can dig in and read about stuff like what would be a good approach for this and that condition, for example. So you are prepared as much as possible, and yeah, be critical also towards yourself. Like ask what you can improve. Be motivated. I think that's what people who have interns want to see. We never had interns because our patient load is too low, but we have a lot of friends who see interns, my girlfriend included. So they all say like they love it when people are really motivated, driven. They want to know stuff. They are prepared. They're there on time. They try to learn. They ask like, what can I improve? That's what you want to see in an intern, and maybe not so much to have great knowledge, but more like where do they start and where do they end? Like, do they show development and ambition? And I think this way you will get most out of your internship. Okay, Andreas, I'll get to the questions now before too many
Yeah.
questions are coming in from the audience. So, customer stories. Share a memorable customer story that highlights the impact of our products/services on their lives.
Okay. Oh man, there was a recent
Oh yeah,
review of the app, like from a German student.
you
Um,
posted in a WhatsApp group.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. If you look into our WhatsApp group,
and
um,
media.
yeah,
Let me see.
not.
Mm,
I don't know if you posted it as a text, but I remember it was like, "You're welcome, Victor." By the way,
oh, it was such a good review. Like it really resonated. I think with what what we're trying to achieve. I'll get to it, but that was a good story. Um,
I mean, probably the most often what we hear. I'll just keep talking while
yeah,
you're looking. Most probably the most or very rewarding feedback that we receive is that people could not have finished their studies without us.
yeah.
Um,
I
yeah.
remember like not last summer, but there were quite a lot of summers where we would receive messages and YouTube comments of people really thanking us for helping them finish and getting their degree. So that was really always very very rewarding. Um, so yeah, there's
I got it.
yeah
The guy said, "You are changing the world. You make it better. You are helping tens of thousands of professionals and patients by making us better practitioners. You guys are a force for good and an inspiration for the medical field. Congrats, and you can be proud. Thank you so much." Yeah, it's basically our whole mission that we want to achieve, like, which is amazing to hear from someone following us.
yeah. And then there was another German guy who was like, okay, I'm very very thankful for you and this app. I'm currently in the process of becoming a physio, and at times I find it really challenging to choose the best treatment for my patients. This is likely due to several factors, but most likely the yeah virvar,
Confusion
the
or like,
confusion around possible therapies in physiotherapy. I want to work evidence based, but a lot of times I don't even know where I should effectively start to look. I'm really glad to have Physiotutors and your app and your all of your work, which gives me more clarity to choose what and how to do with my patients. And yeah, he's really thankful that there's a place where he has easy access to up-to-date literature and studies to choose appropriate interventions for his patients. And he is hoping for continuous development of the app, and which should ultimately lead to more aligned treatments overall. And I think that's really our ambition. If you read our mission statement on the website, one of our missions is to elevate the standard of physiotherapy on a global scale by providing this evidence-based information globally. So hopefully, in the end, it doesn't matter whether you get treated in the Netherlands or in Asia or in the US, that you get the same evidence-based treatment as a patient. Yeah.
All right. I just posted the link to the app in YouTube chat, by the way, because I see a lot of people join through YouTube. We always mention it. Please join through app.physiotutors.com, where you can use the chat function as well. So if you have not made an account yet, it's free. So last shout out. And a last question, and then we'll finish off, because this is actually a longer hangout, but I enjoyed because there's more interaction with the audience. Andreas' last question is personal growth in business. How have you personally grown and evolved in your role within the business over the years?
Again, how
No.
have I evolved?
How have you personally grown and evolved in your role within the business over the years?
Oh, a lot. I think I've become a lot better technically in video editing and how to set up certain stuff. I've become a lot better in web development, the technical aspects at Physiotutors. I've become a lot better in graphic design. I've become a better physio, though I do have to disclose that as of last year, I am not a registered physiotherapist anymore. My focus has really shifted towards the business side of Physiotutors. But definitely in that time, I've tremendously grown as a physio, and I still really enjoy, keeping up with the field and with the profession. But I think that's really where I have grown as part of this business. Yeah.
All right.
What about you? I'm curious to hear your answer.
My personally,
as a closing thought. Yeah.
Oh my God, I was not prepared to answer answer any question. Man, I'm totally surprised now. How have I grown as a person? I don't know. I would if I keep it way more general than your answer, I would say it kind of confirmed and also showed me that because I always wanted to run my own business and realize my ideas. It has shown me that if you are passionate for something and if you believe in something and you work your ass off, that you can make your dreams come true. Sounds kind of like a movie and a bit corny, but that's what I always really believed, but that's really like what I've learned through the business, especially because you face so many challenges as an entrepreneur, and you take those challenges with you in comparison to a normal job where you just you hit the clock and you're done with the day. Maybe sometimes stuff or challenges we faced, they really kind of bothered me and they kept me awake, kind of. But yeah, it's if I think about challenges that you overcome because you believe in a higher purpose and what we said in our mission to make physio to elevate the standards of physio, then I think you can achieve your dreams, and it can be a totally different field that you're working in. But yeah, passion plus hard work plus overcoming obstacles. I think that's the recipe for success in business and also for happiness, because there's nothing else I'd rather do. I would probably, I would have a very, very hard time doing something else.
Oh yeah.
Because that's a dream come true that we are living, and yeah.
Yeah, let's end
Let's end on that note.
on that note. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much for hanging in and for hanging out. And we'll talk to you in 4 weeks' time. So it's end of February is the next Hangout. Prepare your question. Just come in and have a chat. And we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.